Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Talking Disney Classics podcast. And this is the show where we like to talk about all things in the Disney canon. And today we're branching out a little bit from that. We're talking about Disney animated sequels in honor of Moana 2 coming out. We are talking about some of the other ones that they have released. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We are talking about theatrically released Disney animated sequels. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner. Stanford's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I'm excited to talk with you about these films and talk about, films that are pretty good and some that aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Uh,
kind of run the gamut, don't
it's
they?
interesting because, for a long time, like Walt's philosophy was we're moving forward. We're not doing sequels. We're not doing for the animated canon, for the animated films, he would do sequels for like live action, how many Herbie movies, were there, things
Right.
like that. He would do that, but not for the animated films. And people wanted him to. They wanted him to do Snow White, different sequels, but he refused. And so it wasn't until the 90s that we got our first animated sequel, unless, you count, like, some people count some of the like package films, maybe if you were stretching it, but for the most part, the real actual sequel came in the 90s. So it took a long time before Disney actually made a theatrical released sequel.
Yeah, because Disney did that boffo business with their direct video, as it was
Yes.
called back in the day, which were sequels, but yeah, many of those weren't released in the theater. But so it's interesting. I love this idea that you had, Rachel, for us to talk about these sequels that were, released theatrically.
Yeah. So what we
Yeah.
decided to do is we have 7 films in our list that we're ranking, and we have The Jungle Book 2, Return to Neverland, which out of this Disney sequel era in the 90s were the Disney Toons Studios films from that era that were
Yeah.
released in the theater.
That I like to call the cheap quills. I
The
know many people call
cheapos.
them but yeah, the cheap quills.
And it's
This
really weird that they would pick these two to release
to put in the
because
theater yeah, like what?
there were other films from Disney Toons that were released in the theater, like your DuckTales movie, your Goofy
DuckTales.
movie,
Yeah.
things like that. But why these two? Like, you would think if they were going to release a Disney sequel film in the 90s, it would be Lion King 2,
Right.
Return of Jafar,
Right.
these things.
I know. It was very weird. It's just almost like like the pickings were slim and they just thought, well, we got to put something in the movie theater. So, that's what
Yeah.
we're going to do. We're going to put one of these cheap quills.
Yeah, you don't get the feeling that it's because they were like, oh, this is like with Moana 2, I'm hopeful that it's that they saw it and were like, oh, this is actually like pretty good. Let's release it in the theater. That's my
Right.
hope.
That's my
And
hope too. We'll
that
be
it's not
finding
just
out shortly,
yeah,
but
we will. We're finding out see if it's a
I'm
complete
kind of
cash
I'm
grab.
kind of nervous about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we all are, but there's hope that's the case. I can't imagine that was the case with Return to
I
Neverland and
can't
Jungle Book 2.
either. I just
It
yeah, it kind
like
of
again, I would think that particularly I think is it Lion King 1.5, the one that's the parody.
yes.
Like I feel like that one really could have gotten a release
A
in the
theatrical release.
theater.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because it's so funny. It's so silly.
It's exactly
Yeah. And people
so
like going
over
to the
the top that
comedies.
it might have it worked. Yeah.
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 So it's interesting. But it'll be interesting to see where Moana 2 ranks in both
Yes.
our overall canon ranking and also in our in this
And this
ranking.
animated theatrically released sequels. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. Well, and so we also included the Tigger movie as one of our picks. because I didn't want to include all of the Winnie the Pooh movies because we could do and should do a separate just episode
Yeah,
on
just
those,
like
and that'd be
Winnie the
fun.
Pooh, right?
But I don't know. I just felt like it would take over the episode, and we'd just be talking about like five, Winnie the Pooh
Right.
movies, and
Because there were multiple Winnie the Pooh movies that were quote unquote sequels that were
yeah,
released in the theaters. So I thought that was a good call to put the
yeah,
Tigger to have the Tigger movie be representative
yeah.
of yeah.
So then we have the Rescuers Down Under in the ranking, and we have Frozen 2, Fantasia 2000, and Ralph Breaks the Internet in that we are including in this ranking.
Are you a fan of Rachel's reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Then let's talk about it. What do you have at number 7?
So as a surprise to no one, I have the Jungle Book 2.
Yeah, same with
Which
me.
is such a flaming piece of crap. I just hated this movie so much. I didn't see it in the theater just out of protest, because I just, these cheap girls made me so angry. Just because I just feel like, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, Rachel, but to put a number 2 on something, to make it as if it's like a continuation of this, like, again, it's like it can be a trilogy or something. It's like, no, it's just this kind of cheap sequel that got thrown together. I would have just preferred it to be called something else. You know what I mean? Like Mowgli's, Jungle Adventure or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
Just because. Anyway, so there's that, and I'll just get off my stupid soapbox. But the movie is terrible. It is a terrible film. I thought just so derivative, so stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, it really is bad. It just doesn't have anything. Like there's just nothing. It feels so generic. And I know people say this all the time, and some people get annoyed, but it really does feel like an AI.
It does.
Made this movie. They put in there Disney Jungle Book sequel. Flop pop. And there it is. Wants to go back and hang out with Blue.
Well, and I wanted to get your opinion on this because really the whole movie is based on that scene from the original Jungle Book that you hate so much. And they made a whole movie about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that scene at the end when Mowgli, chooses to go to the man village.
Yeah, I mean, you could make like an interesting movie about Mowgli having, conflicted thoughts about going to they bring up some of that in the live action, like they kind of expand on that, and I do like that ending.
I like, I do too.
Yeah. But yeah, they just don't do anything with it. Like there's just nothing. And they even like bring back, you hear bare necessities, here I want to be like you. So which is just yucky.
Yeah, it is. It's yucky and completely forgettable songs that are just so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like your songs are going to sound terrible when you have them next to the original songs,
right? And very uninteresting animation. Again, that I just think would have been, again, is kind of classic cheap coal. Kind of remind me of like the Return of Jafar. Thing where the animation wasn't very good. Although I think the Return of Jafar probably had a much better story, and not that it would be hard to have a better story, than Jungle Book 2. And sorry to be so negative. I really hate
Well,
being
I
so
mean,
negative, but oh, it's so
it is. I
bad.
mean, you think we did the whole episode on Cinderella 3, and when you watch that movie, you feel like people were really trying to tell a
They
story, to be
really
creative, to do
they
something.
cared. Yeah,
Yeah.
they cared, and we're
Yeah.
trying. I agree, they were trying. I felt like this. You said, I love it. It's the AI movie. It's true. It's just like the most thoughtless. Yeah, just it's just rotten to the core. I don't know how I did
Yeah,
it.
I
I don't know how I
agree.
did it at the box office. Again, I guess.
Let me see if it says it on here.
Yeah, if it
Let's see in the
says
Wikipedia.
if anybody even
Well,
went.
it didn't do bad. It made 135 million on a
Oh
20 million
my
dollar budget. So
stars. There must have been absolutely nothing in the theater to see. That's those people are. Oh,
says the film released on February 14th, 2003, and opened at number 4 in its 4-day opening weekend.
okay.
At the end of its run, the film grossed 47 million in the United States and 87 in foreign countries. So it's really I mean, it only cost 20 million to make. So it was, even in States, it was a success, but
Yeah.
really it was a big hit overseas.
Big hit
Go
overseas.
figure.
Oh, oh. Stay away
Yeah.
from it. It's on Disney Plus. That's where I watched
Yeah.
it because again, I refused I had refused to see it in the theater, and now I understand why.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, what do you have next?
I have Return to Neverland next.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Although I would say personally, I do think there's a pretty big
There's a big jump.
a decent jump.
There's a jump in quality, no question.
Yeah.
I think the animation's better in Return to Neverland, and I think there was an attempt at a story.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree. Like it's in my, I'm not like the biggest Peter Pan person.
Right.
And I think this is serviceable.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And at least too, it's not just kind of like this dumb rehash. I mean, even though some of the same characters and themes and relationships are still in place.
Yeah.
It was interesting, kind of set, with Wendy's daughter and yeah.
Because you have Jane being the kind of more cynical as opposed to Wendy, who is more like hopeful and sweet.
Right.
And so they have to kind of convince her to believe where Wendy already believes. So there's like a little bit of a different dynamic.
Right. Which made it a little, again, a little just more interesting, right?
Yeah. So it's fine. It's like a decent. I would probably go fresh on it. Like it's decent.
Oh, would you? Okay, interesting.
Probably. I think like it's.
I mean, yeah, because it's not. I mean, it's bad, but it's not Jungle Book too bad.
Yeah. It's watchable. It's like I would probably give it like a 2.5, 3 stars. I'd be right on the edge. I don't know between fresh and rotten, but
I gave it 2 stars.
Oh,
but
2 stars.
It's still though. Yeah, you nailed it. Serviceable. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it would depend on how forgiving I'm feeling at the moment. If I've just seen Red One, then
yeah, right.
It's like a great movie.
You're like, wow, this is brilliant.
Now you just saw the National Touring Company Peter Pan, and I saw it as well. And what did you think?
I was phenomenal.
Right?
I was just dazzled by it. I loved it.
Me too. I was not expecting, again, because I just don't love Peter Pan. It's not a favorite property of mine. But it was so good. I mean, there were like little things that I was like, they really didn't need to like add modern, like they didn't need to get rid of Nanny, and they didn't need to have like TikTok and viral videos.
Right.
Like that was dumb.
Yeah, but to set it in modern day, I kind of question that too.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought it was really delightful. And screen projections are all the rage right now,
right?
In all levels of theater, from Broadway to community. And this was, I think, maybe the most successful video projection I've seen with the flying scenes.
Oh, the flying scenes were magical.
Really good.
They were
really good.
They were so well executed. I was so not expecting any of that.
And like I was telling Jen that outside of Hamilton, I think it's the best thing that I've seen at Eccles this year, as far as the
Yeah,
tour. I
yeah.
really do.
I support you in that, Rachel, because
Mhm.
it was so well made. The cast
Yeah.
was terrific. It's just a really
Yeah.
great production of that
It was
show.
way better than I anticipated.
Oh, I'm
That's for
so
sure.
glad you enjoyed it because
Yeah.
I loved it too.
Yeah. And
And
the hook was so funny. He was great.
he was terrific. Yeah, Captain,
Yeah.
he really, and Peter was played by a 17-year-old male,
Yeah, that's different.
which was different,
Yeah.
but he was terrific, because so athletic on the wires, but just a talented. He was just a great actor. I thought he terrific singing voice and for the role, and anyway, great
Yeah.
cast and really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see that instead of Return to Neverland. If you need a Peter Pan fix.
Well, so what do you have next?
So this is where I wonder if we're going to maybe vary a little bit. See, I put the Tigger movie at
Yeah.
5.
So I also have the Tigger movie there, but
Oh,
I
okay.
I enjoy it. I thought it was overall a really sweet movie. I like the whole like found family and like realizing your friends can be your family. Sort of message. I think has a really sweet message. I think the animation is pretty good. I got the Sherman Brothers songs. That's fun. Overall, I enjoyed it.
You know, um, yeah, I don't hate this movie either. I don't love it,
Yeah.
but I'm with you. The animation, I thought that the animation was really good, and I think that this one was done in Japan, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm.
from seeing the credits. Like there's sort of some kind of, I don't know how long lasting it was, but it was just like, yeah, it said like Walt Disney Animation Japan. So, but there was a lot of care with it because that's one of the
Yeah.
things I think is a hallmark of the Disney Winnie the Pooh features is just the hand drawn look to it.
Yeah.
Even like with Tigger Stripes, you can just tell, that they just kind of bounced there. Hello, Tigger, but they moved around a little bit, which seemed like an intentional artistic decision, which I really liked. I think for me, the one thing, just again, this is just nitpicky, and I don't wish to be a jerk, but the I really particularly like with the classic, like Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, or like actually it's the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that has like 3 shorts, that
Yeah.
can put into one. I like the shorter storylines. I thought because
I
this one,
can see that.
I was a little, I don't know what the right word was, maybe just a little bored.
But
It's like,
even in the 2011, it's not official different stories shorts, but it kind of feels segmented.
yeah, that it's segmented, which I think frankly helps because
Yeah,
by the
I can
time
see that because
Act 3 shows up, I'm just like, oh,
they have like
Tigger,
the
like,
whole part with the Baxen, and that's like one
yes.
part, and then they have like different parts. Yeah, I can see that. That's fair.
So again, not wanting to be and then that whole, spoiler alert, but that whole avalanche scene, I was just like rolling. I was like I just hated that so bad because in a way it felt. I mean, I know that there's like stuff like the with the rainstorm and stuff, and with the these other,
Oh yeah.
but this almost seemed like overly dramatic for a Winnie the Pooh
Yeah,
thing.
I can see that.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so nitpicky. And again, I don't wish to be a jerk, but I was really glad when it ended. And I had seen it before though. I'm not sure I'd seen it in the theater, but I think I
Yeah.
had seen it like on DVD. And I also though, yeah, the Sherman, it's fun because I think isn't this the last film that the Sherman brothers wrote together?
Uh,
I could be wrong, but I
yeah,
think it
that
might
sounds
be.
right. That
And
sounds
then
right.
also they collaborated with Kenny Loggins on the very last number, which is really nice. It's
Yeah, it is nice.
it's really
Yeah.
it's just kind of tender, which is what Winnie the Pooh is, I think.
Yeah. And I do think for these Winnie the Pooh sequels that they did put in some effort. They did try. Like I think it's the
Yes.
Piglet one that has Carly Simon,
Yeah.
Songs and
See, and I think I remember liking that Piglet one a little better than I liked this one. But again, it's been
yeah.
a while.
Yeah. And then there's the Heffalump one, and Eeyore has one.
Isn't there one that's like Pooh's Grand Adventure? But I don't know if that's just
There's
is that direct to video or
I
was
think that one was direct to
Yeah.
video. And then there was also Springtime with Rue that was also direct to video. I don't think that got
Yes.
theatrical. But
Yeah.
that one's like it's like a take on the Christmas Carol, but it's at Easter.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to do like a Winnie the Pooh episode, huh? Heaven forbid.
It's kind of
I can do
bonkers.
it.
For a while I was doing that patrons got to pick a movie for me to review, and it's actually still up there if people want to, pick it for their tiers on the Patreon. And that was one that got selected for me to review.
Oh dear.
Time with Rue. I think probably because they know I love Christmas Carol
right
so much or something, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, now is where I think we will
now I'm really curious for these last four. I was wondering where we were going to compare with the Digger movie. Yeah.
Well, what do you have at 4?
At 4 I have Fantasia 2000.
Yeah. This was a tough one for me to figure out where to rank it. I have a just a hair higher, but these four are pretty close for me.
Yeah.
They really are.
I don't hate Fantasia 2000. I think I know that we've talked about how those interstitials are kind of cringy, right?
Yes.
I don't know, maybe not even kind of, just right. I mean, they just are. But there's some sequence. I saw this, in 2000 in an IMAX theater, and it was really quite a wonderful film going experience.
Oh, that'd be cool. That was the only way it was released, right?
Yeah, and they saw it in California. It was on the family trip, and we found the movie theater and went to it, and just I think we're really dazzled overall by the experience. And some of the sequences I really love. I particularly love Rhapsody in Blue. And I also love the Firebird Suite. Those are, I think, one of my two favorites in this one. But,
yeah, I mean, I do think it was a mistake to have the Sorcerer's Apprentice in this.
Yeah,
because it just immediately you're like, oh wow, these aren't as good as that.
I know.
Kind of reminding you.
It reminds you, which
same way with having the original songs in Jungle Book 2. Like you don't want to do that.
Yeah, kind of jarring. Like, oh yeah, that first one was really something special. But
when it's great, it's really, really great.
Yeah, and then when it's not, it's not. How's that for brilliant?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have Rescuers Down Under at number 4.
Rachel, I'm so no kidding. I'm so surprised. Our mutual.
Yeah. The adventure's fun. I know some people don't like the kind of the romantic angle, but of course I like that. I enjoy that. And I like the fact that Cody is never alone. So it just feels a little bit nicer, more pleasant to me than Medusa and Penny. And I mean, McLeach is absolutely horrible. Throwing knives at him and stuff, but he's the villain. So but yeah, I mean it's pretty enjoyable. I do prefer it over the original, and I love the flying scenes. They're beautiful. Yeah. So it's pretty entertaining. But I don't know, just child endangerment stories, and this is just not my favorite franchise, as we know.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Mistletoe at Jameson Ranch, the new clean, uplifting romance and entry in the Teacher Project by writer Anna Grace. Award-winning author Anna Grace is back with another installment in her heartwarming series, The Teacher Project. 5 teachers are recruited to revive a high school in the tiny cantankerous town of Pronghorn, Oregon, shaking up the community and creating friendships to last a lifetime. In Mistletoe at Jameson Ranch, Nashville lawyer Harlow Jameson returns to Pronghorn
to find big changes to her little town and new faces, including Vander Torn, a gorgeous teacher and cowboy in training. Harlow is roped into helping with the holiday pageant, and Vander's showing her a whole new side of Pronghorn and herself. But is a picture-perfect Christmas season enough to bridge the gap between the city girl and her sweet cowboy? Mistletoe at Jameson Ranch has been called the perfect Christmas read by early reviewers and is available at all the major retailers and online. You can use the affiliate link below. That's Mistletoe at Jameson Ranch by Anna Grace. We know you'll love it. What do you have at 3?
So at 3, I have Frozen 2.
Yeah.
I really like Frozen 2, actually. I mean, it's flawed. You know, as we've talked about in the past, those whole underused group of new characters are still puzzling to me.
Yeah.
And some of the storyline, I mean, I didn't but then also it's also kind of like a head scratcher. I think that the songs are stellar.
Yeah.
I think Into the Unknown is just one of my favorites, really. I love it. And then Lost in the Woods, as we've talked about also many times, is
so
brilliant.
Good.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And such a delight. And I really do like these characters. I like Anna and Elsa a lot, and Kristoff, and I even like Olaf. I feel like it was almost like a missed opportunity, but it's not. I don't hate it. I do not hate this film by any. I just like the other ones a little bit more.
Yeah. So I have Ralph Breaks the Internet at 3.
Okay.
I enjoy this film. I'm not in the hater camp. We both enjoyed it.
Yeah, we like that one.
I like the humor, the princesses, the Disney poking fun at itself is enjoyable. I think that the friendship dynamic between Penelope and Ralph is interesting and moving, and the animation is really beautiful. It's just feels to me more unique and less like out of a formula than the original. So yeah, I like Ralph Breaks the Internet. I have it at 3.
Yeah, see, I have that at 2. I
Yeah.
really like this film a lot, as we've discussed. I thought it was funny and original, and even though it's very topical, for the time period, and it's not going to necessarily hold up as a classic, I think that I just love how they captured like internet culture, particularly internet culture of the time.
Yeah. I agree. Like, don't read the comments and just like everything.
Everything
really
about
funny.
it. The kind of like their eBay stuff, and I mean all the stuff. I thought was really super clever, and yeah, and the dynamic between Ralph and Vanellope, it's a really interesting one. I like the characters, and in a lot of ways, it's quite a I'm calling it a mature film. I mean, not that it's just for adults, but it hits on some themes that that I think require a level of emotional maturity to understand, and which I liked. I thought that was a big swing that connected.
Like sometimes the most important thing you can do in being a friend is letting go and letting them start a whole new adventure.
Right.
Like he does by the end.
Right. And again, really stellar animation too. It's, really...
and surprise Alan Menken's song in the middle. That was fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And, initially I was thinking, that whole thing about with the princesses was going to be cringe, but it's funny.
It's really funny.
I think it's funny. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they really aced it. Yeah.
So, let's see. So you had Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah. What do you have at 2?
Okay, so I have Fantasia 2000.
Oh wow,
at 2.
That's just higher than I thought you.
I know. I don't think I had it that high in my ranking. So in my canon ranking.
Yeah.
But so, find find me on a day and it'll be a different ranking.
No, I
But
hear you. It's the same for me. Yeah.
when I was thinking really about sequels and like particularly animated sequels, and so I was able to kind of like put the interstitials aside and just think about the animation. And there really are some beautiful sequences. The Rhapsody in Blue, the Firebird, then you have some lighter ones like with the flamingos,
Oh
the
yeah, flamingos are
yo-yos,
fun.
that's
And
fun.
I like that Tin Soldier story or the whatever
Uh-huh.
the proper name for that one is. And
Yeah.
um even the Donald Duck Pomp and Circumstances one is, I think, is cute. It's not
You
it's
know,
not social. It's not the Sorcerer's Apprentice by any means, but I thought it was cute.
it would be fun for one of these episodes, one of these days, to just do a ranking of all the Fantasia shorts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be fun. Let's do it. I'm in.
Fantasia 2000, but then also some of the other ones that they did that didn't end up getting included,
Yes,
you know, like
I'm
Little
in.
Match Girl
Yeah.
and the the blue heron one
Yeah.
with flirt that they
With Flirtle, is it yeah.
yeah.
Yes, the Debussy one.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it Debussy or is it Chopin? I can't,
There's
anyway,
a
one of
bunch
those
that were
two.
like supposed to be Fantasia, but then
Claire de
like they
like
never
Claire de Lune.
Claire de Lune, yeah.
Yeah.
That never ended up happening or got put in with Make My Music or something like that. Like
That'd be
there's a
fun.
bunch of Fantasia shorts. That would be fun. So
Yeah.
let us know if you're listening. If you want us to
Right.
do a ranking of Fantasia shorts, let us know. That could be a lot of fun. Well, so what do you have at number one?
Rachel, I have the Rescuers Down Under because I love these the Rescuers so much. I love the Rescuers. I love the sequel. This was the first film that Disney used. I think they called it their CAPS system, but it's where they used computers to do the painting, the inking and the painting, and
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 this
the
was
the
that was created by
colors.
the folks at Pixar, right? Didn't
You
they make
know,
that system?
Probably. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah.
because the colors in this film just pop. I remember distinctly seeing at the villa, on the big screen, and just being aghast, with that, particularly with that first flying scene with Marahute, the eagle, and Cody. But the whole thing, just how absolutely gorgeous it looked. Plus, I love those characters so much. I love Bernard and Bianca, and I
Yeah.
just love the concept of out of small thing come that, which is great. And
It's
I just
so
love it.
weird
I
that
love it so much.
of all of the projects, like why did they pick that to do a sequel? Like
Well,
what?
I'd be very interested to know too. What I read was that when Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg came on board, they were instantly looking at properties that they could do to what could be a sequel, and so that they decided to pick the Rescuers. I wonder if partly too because Bob Newhart and Ava Gabor were still alive, they were still kicking,
Because you would
and
think
could
they would
voice
do
it.
101 Dalmatians or something like that has like a real
Yeah.
like there's just more of a fandom
Yeah, because I
around.
don't think there was necessarily fandom clearly with the Rescuers. I feel like I'm the only one. I'm the only fan, but
Yeah, I
I
mean they
love
could
it.
even do like a Lady and the Tramp or I don't know, it just feels like there's
Well,
other. I mean, then they would make cheapos on those, but
they did, yeah. They made cheap goals.
it's just interesting that that's the one they picked, and I mean, it's an entertaining film. I mean, the adventure, the with that scene when they're on the tracks of the
Yes, that's
tractor
what
or
I was
whatever it
thinking
is.
of too. It's really
That's a really fun scene,
exciting. Yeah,
and I love that score
the
in
score
there.
is the score is fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good like adventure
Yes.
score from
Is it
uh
Bruce Broughton, or I don't know how
yeah.
you say his name? I think he's the composer. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but
And just some of the special effects like oh it looks dated but some of them still it's fun plus to have John Candy. I think that was a pretty good sub out.
yeah, John Candy. It was great. I just love that they were in Australia, and I love the setting and all the Australian animals and
And I do love the medical team. Those
yes, that's really funny.
yeah, is back. That's funny. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, I had Frozen 2 at number one.
Yeah.
I wish I'd had a chance to rewatch it because it's been a while, but I didn't just because I'm in crazy Christmas mode right now. But just the songs alone, because I'm a musical slut, I mean, I love the songs.
Oh, those
Just the
songs,
songs
they're
alone
so
elevate it to
good.
me above any of these other movies because the songs are so good.
Yeah,
And
the songs are just winners, every single one of
yeah,
them.
when
Yeah.
when he started singing Lost in the Woods, I had like the biggest grin on my face that you have ever seen. I was so
That song
happy.
is so funny, and then just
It's
the way
so good.
the way they animated it, like it's this music video, from the 80s.
Yeah, and I do think that I was still at a spot where I was okay with generational trauma. I think that in Kanto I was like, that's it, I'm done. No more. No more generational trauma. Like you
Yeah.
did it. You did it. That was as good as that story can be done. No more. I don't want any more. And uh and so I think that's why I wonder if I watched it now if it'd be like, oh, this again. Because
Yeah.
I'm just so over that story. But at the time it was like, wow, that was pretty brave to have this like really complex, weird, like villain kind of story with her parents and everything and with their parents. And
Yeah.
I do like the fact that both of them end up as queens. I think that was
That's a great choice. And I mean, there's so much I like that Elsa's water horse, I just think
oh
is like the
yeah.
coolest the coolest thing
Yeah.
such beautiful animation. What a cool idea to do. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. And so overall, I think it's a good film. It does definitely like drag in spots. They don't it feels like the secondary characters were all installed just to sell toys and dolls and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they were just so weird and so underutilized.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the next two Frozen movies. Jennifer Lee, who is the writer and director of both
Yeah.
Frozen films, and was running Disney Animation, after John Lasseter left, has now stepped away from that administrative role and is just going to be focusing on these Frozen sequels. And I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It's just very interesting. And I don't feel necessarily critical. I'm maybe I just, if anything, I'm hopeful. I'm like, okay, they're serious about this, and they want to get it. They want to do something good. Is what is
Yeah.
my hope. I don't know.
It does feel
I
like
would.
what story is left? What's
Well,
there? Like
what are they gonna, create or something? Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Frozen 3, Olaf's Revenge. I mean, what else is there to do? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I wonder, I'm hoping, I don't know, but I'm hoping that Bobby and Christina Anderson Lopez, are back on board, because
I think that they tweeted out that
I think they tweeted out that they're
something like that they were
yeah,
like, oh,
like,
we didn't know this was a thing,
yeah.
but
Like,
we're
we've got some work now or something. Yeah.
But I
can't
mean,
remember.
it is amazing that just the amount of songs that they have written for Frozen is unbelievable. When you think of original movie, then they have the was it two shorts?
They have, I think, two shorts that they wrote. It seems like somebody else wrote.
Yeah, somebody else did the Christmas short.
The Christmas short, that's right. Yeah.
Which everyone hated so much.
That's right.
And then there was Frozen 2. Oh,
and
then over
Broadway,
20 songs for the Broadway.
And I think that the Broadway for Frozen is terrific. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand some people that felt like it was a little boring. I heard that critique a lot, but I don't know. I didn't really think so.
I didn't think it was boring at all.
No,
I
I
thought it was
didn't feel like
terrific.
it was too boring. I mean, and just some real banger songs like Monster.
Yeah,
That's such a good song.
good song.
Yeah. And I mean, I was surprised that they kept uh the Trolls song in the Broadway musical.
Am I the only one who likes the
Fix
troll song?
Fixer Upper.
I love Fixer Upper, but am I the only one
Fixer
who
Upper.
likes Fixer
No,
Upper?
you and Disney. Disney loves Fixer Upper. I mean, I thought for sure they would cut that out of
They'd cut it.
like I don't know that many people that don't say that's the worst song in Frozen. It's the weakest song. But now, did you see that they included it in this new update of the Country Bear Jamboree?
Oh, are you serious?
They
I haven't
included
watched
Fixer
that yet.
Upper. It's Country Bear Jamboree.
Of all the songs to pick. See, now
Like,
that one, I'm like,
why?
what?
You got your country western, a little bit of a Fixer Upper. They love that song. They're not letting it go.
That's
They're
hilarious.
holding on to it for dear life. But yeah, I was surprised that they kept that in the musical.
in the Broadway musical.
I thought it might be a guy like you.
Right.
Cut it,
that where thankfully they cut it from from Hunchback. But I support your decision. I think again, I'm not a hater by any means. I think Frozen 2 is really good.
Yeah.
In so many regards.
Yeah. And I'm always a sucker for sister stories. I think that's why I like the original Frozen as well. I have
that was
three
such a
sisters
smart
myself.
decision. Yeah. to have this. I thought that making it a sister movie was such a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
the original, and then of course, then just setting up these characters, for hopefully lots of good stories.
And I think also, like, I do connect like a little bit with Elsa just because, being the oldest sister as well. And
yeah, you've got that sense of responsibility, right, and duty, and yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just the sense of like comparison and the sense of, all those different things. My sister just younger than me felt it even more than I did, because she was like, because we had sort of two groups, and she was the youngest of the first group in my family. And so like she was kind of like a mini mom. Plus that was just more her personality. She's very maternal, and naturally. And so she kind of became like the mini mom of these three younger kids.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I mean, my youngest sibling, I was in college when, my sister was too, but then she went back. But I was at BYU, and I came home after summer break, and then my sister was born.
Right.
So it was just like an interesting dynamic to have. But I think that I don't know, I can kind of relate a little bit to Elsa in some ways in what she was feeling.
Yeah, so that's probably helped, right? To how you think about this movie. Yeah.
So I asked on Twitter, and I was surprised how many answers that I got. A lot of engagement about Disney sequels. I have, let's see here. Desert of the Real podcast says his order: Tigger movie, Fantasia 2000, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Frozen 2, Jungle Book 2, Rescuers Down Under, and Return to Neverland. And then Nostalgia Cast says Rescuers Down Under, Fantasia 2000, Frozen 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, the Tigger movie, Return to Neverland, Jungle Book 2. So there we go. Jordan M says the Tigger movie is his favorite, then Fantasia 2000, The Rescuers Down Under, Frozen 2, and Ralph Breaks the Internet. Max Borg, he says Frozen 2, Rescuers Down Under, Fantasia 2000, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Jungle Book 2, the Tigger movie, and Return to Neverland. Tune My Heart says Rescuers Down Under, Fantasia 2000, Frozen 2, and Ralph Breaks the Internet. Jacob, he says Rescuers Down Under, the Tigger movie, Fantasia 2000, the Jungle Book 2, Return to Neverland, Frozen 2, and Ralph Breaks the Internet. We're definitely higher on that movie than anybody else.
I know.
Frank Henry says Rescuers Down Under, the Tigger movie. A lot of Tigger movie, pretty high.
You know
A
that
lot of
people are liking the Tigger movie.
people like it. Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
I think it's those Sherman Brothers songs.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then
Yeah.
maybe just some nostalgia too, regarding anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Then he has Fantasia 2000, Frozen 2, Return to Neverland, Rob Breaks the Internet, and The Jungle Book 2. And the last one, Adam Baker says Rescuers Down Under, the Tigger movie, Frozen 2, Rob Breaks the Internet 2, Fantasia 2000, Return to Neverland, and The Jungle Book 2.
So Jungle Book 2, clearly lots of your great followers are kind of on board with us, aren't they?
I mean, there's nothing to excuse about Jungle Book 2. Like talk about a movie that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
The poster child of it. Horrible.
So there we go. Let us know what you think, what your ranking would be in the comment section or on Twitter. And also let us know if you have other rankings, other categories, other things that we could talk about in the world of Disney. Of course, our next episode is going to be all about Moana 2. So that's going to be
fingers
really
crossed,
fun.
Rachel. Oh.
Yeah. So again, let us know, and thanks so much. And where can people follow you online? All that fun stuff.
So I've got a podcast. It's Movies Past and Present. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at Movies PAP, as in past and present.
Great. And you can follow us on Twitter at Disney Talking, and me at Rachel's Reviews, all over the place, everywhere. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are watching or listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That helps us very much. You can check out our entire playlist of all of our episodes. We have over 100 episodes of Talking Disney, so you definitely want to check those out. And we have the patron group, which if you want to request videos or you want to be part of watch-alongs or other perks, it's really fun. I try to make it very worth your while. So check out the patron group. And then we have the merch store. We have some new holiday themed designs. And so if you're looking for a holiday design on shirts and other items, check it out. We've got Home Alone, we've got Christmas Story, we've got Die Hard, we've got all your favorites. Plus we have Animation Junkie shirts. I'm an Animation Girl shirts, all that fun stuff. Check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.